They say, somewhere in the endless dark of the ocean, there's a place where compasses spin wildly, time slips, and ships vanish without a trace. But what if I told you that sailors, real sailors, not only believed in these things, they documented them? From ghost ships sailing against the wind, to voices whispering from beneath the waves, to creatures with glowing eyes said to drag entire vessels to the bottom, these weren't just tales for campfires. They were warnings, passed down from generation to generation, written in faded logbooks, etched into the walls of forgotten lighthouses. And some of them still remain unsolved, still unexplained. So what did the pirates truly fear out there? Monsters? Curses? Or something far worse? Something real? Hit like, subscribe, and let's go. For centuries, the sea has been both a lifeline and a graveyard. Vast, mysterious, untamable, the ocean has swallowed entire civilizations, erased ships from history, and given birth to stories no man could truly explain. Even today, with satellites orbiting above us and GPS in every hand, we've mapped less than 20% of the ocean floor. Let that sink in. We know more about the surface of Mars than the depths of our own planet. And in that blue abyss, something ancient still stirs. For sailors of the past, the ocean wasn't just water and waves. It was alive. It listened. It remembered. Strange phenomena were considered part of the journey, a rite of passage. Glowing fogs that moved against the wind. Storms that formed from clear skies in seconds. Whispers echoing from empty waters. These weren't fantasies, they were logged in captains' journals, reported in official naval records. And in some cases, entire crews were lost, leaving only scorched wood or a drifting mast behind. In today's world of logic and science, we dismiss such tales as legend, folklore born from isolation and fear. But if that's true, why do modern ships still disappear under perfect conditions? Why do seasoned sailors still speak in hushed tones when retelling what they saw near certain coordinates? Maybe, just maybe, the old legends weren't exaggerations. Maybe they were warnings. And now, as climate change reshapes the oceans and humanity pushes further into forbidden waters, those ancient forces may no longer be content with silence. It began long before satellites, before compasses, before maps even had edges, long before the word ocean meant anything at all. The earliest seafarers, Phoenicians, Vikings, Arab traders, all spoke of a place where the sea turned against its own, not with storms or waves, but with intent. There were coordinates passed down in whispers, places marked not with names, but with symbols, skulls, eyes, spirals. In these regions, time seemed to stretch or collapse. Sailors grew older in a single night. Stars changed positions. Some ships returned days after they had sunk, crewless, cold to the touch, and completely dry inside. The most infamous stories came from the 1600s, during the height of piracy. In the logbooks of Blackbeard's own fleet, there are entries, scratched violently into the pages, about nights when the ocean glowed blood red, and voices called out in perfect unison from the mist. Other accounts, like that of the Dutch East India Company, describe phantom vessels that passed silently by, crews standing perfectly still, their eyes hollow, black. These weren't drunken hallucinations. These were hardened men, survivors of war and storm, terrified beyond reason. They spoke of the deep below, a consciousness older than mankind. Watching, waiting, testing. And now, with rising sea levels, melting ice, and the deep-sea mining race tearing open the ocean floor, that ancient silence is being disturbed. Again, the question is no longer whether these legends are true, but what happens when we go too far, when we awaken something that was never meant to be found. In 1840, a British whaling ship stumbled upon a ghost, frozen in time, locked in the eternal grip of Antarctic ice. The vessel was called the Jenny, and what they found on board still sends shivers down the spines of maritime historians. Her crew, all dead, perfectly preserved. One man was found at the helm, his eyes still open, hands still clutching the wheel. The ship's log told the rest. The Jenny had been trapped for 13 years, sailing with no living soul aboard. Her last entry? May 4th, 1823. No food for 71 days. I am the last. These weren't sailors' tales. This was published in multiple 19th century naval records, newspapers, and even referenced in scientific journals of the time. The cold had mummified the crew, but what disturbed rescuers the most was that there were no signs of struggle. No panic. Just eerie stillness. like they had all simply stopped. And this wasn't the only one. In fact, since the early 1700s, over 2,000 ships have vanished under calm weather, many in the Southern Ocean, near regions where magnetic anomalies disrupt navigation. That number grows every year. Today, even with radar, sonar, and advanced weather tracking, modern vessels report blackouts in communication, unexplained mechanical failures, and strange hallucinations among the crew in those very same zones. Pilots of deep-sea submersibles often describe the feeling of being watched even when descending miles below in total isolation. This isn't folklore anymore. It's a pattern, a dangerous one. And if the sea is hiding something beneath, something old, something sentient, then maybe we're getting too close to the truth. Too close to waking it up. Here's the part that changes everything. In 2011, a team of researchers from the University of Washington, studying deep-sea trenches in the South Pacific, recorded a low-frequency sound lasting over 2 minutes that defied all known biological or geological sources. They called it the Bloop, and it came from near the exact region where the Jenny was last locked. At first, some speculated it was a giant squid or an icequake. But NOAA, the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, quietly removed the original files from public databases. Since then, a handful of independent researchers have come forward, claiming similar anomalies, including sudden sonar blanks, where entire zones seem to just vanish from mapping systems. It's led to one chilling hypothesis, that there are acoustic camouflage zones in the ocean, massive, possibly intelligent pockets of water where sound and signal are absorbed, warped, or even redirected. Could something be hiding there? Some scientists propose the idea of marine-based intelligences, not aliens, not monsters, but life forms so evolved and so adapted to the ocean's depths, they simply don't need to surface. Others go further, suggesting the ocean itself might function like a neural network, reacting, storing, even remembering. And if the sea remembers, then maybe the legends of cursed waters, vanishing ships, and ghost voices are just echoes of something that was once real. Something we forgot. Until now. So ask yourself, what's more terrifying? The idea that these myths are real, or that we're only now beginning to understand how little we actually know? Today, with the rise of AI-driven sonar, autonomous underwater vehicles, and satellite-linked ocean buoys, we're closer than ever to unlocking the secrets of the deep. But what scientists are discovering is not comfort. It's more questions. In 2020, a joint expedition by NASA and NOAA launched an autonomous submersible Orpheus to explore the Hadal Zone, the deepest part of the ocean. What it recorded stunned researchers. Sudden spikes in electromagnetic interference. Whole minutes of lost data. A temperature drop of nearly 20 degrees in an area where heat should have been stable. Even stranger, audio logs revealed rhythmic sounds, too patterned to be natural, yet too unlike anything mechanical. Meanwhile, private companies like OceanX and deep-sea mining corporations have begun mapping untouched areas and reporting consistent signal blackouts, equipment failures, and mass interference zones. That match almost exactly with 18th and 19th century maps marked as cursed waters. Some modern captains, even now, refuse to cross them. And here's where it gets darker. Recent studies from marine biologists have identified rapid changes in deep-sea species behavior, entire colonies of bioluminescent organisms migrating away from known trench systems, as if something is rising. Whether that something is natural or something else remains open. The truth is, the more advanced our technology becomes, the more we realize we've been blind. Our machines aren't just revealing the unknown. They're confirming what sailors warned us about centuries ago. The question is no longer if the legends are based in truth, but why science is only now catching up to ancient fear. Some believe it's all explainable: magnetic anomalies, extreme pressure zones, rogue waves, methane hydrate eruptions. Science, they say, always finds the answer, eventually. But others, even within the scientific community, aren't so sure anymore. One theory suggests that deep-sea regions act like memory vaults of the Earth, holding energetic imprints of every trauma the planet has witnessed, from mass extinctions to ancient cosmic impacts. What if those areas are not just geological oddities, but scars? Some physicists propose that the ocean may serve as a veil separating our dimension from something deeper, something older. Could our relentless drilling, mining, and sonar probing be thinning that veil? One chilling idea posits that humanity is unknowingly activating ancient systems, biological, technological, or something in between. That what we call myth may in fact be forgotten technology from a pre-human civilization, one wiped out not by time, but by awakening the very forces we're disturbing now. Others argue we're facing a natural intelligence, one that views our intrusion the same way we'd view a scalpel cutting into our skin. And then there are those who claim the anomalies are deliberate, that something is letting us find just enough to keep going, to lure us in, until it's ready. Progress is a powerful light, but it always casts a darker shadow. For every sonar ping we send into the deep, something might be listening and responding. So what went wrong? Maybe nothing yet, or maybe everything. And the price we're paying for our curiosity? It may not be survival. It may be knowing, truly knowing, that we were never alone down there, and never welcome. After everything, the signals, the disappearances, the warnings ignored, we're left with a world that has finally begun to feel the weight of what it disturbed. Global shipping routes are quietly being altered. Naval expeditions now avoid entire sectors of ocean where the anomalies were detected. Governments issue no public statements, but budgets for deep-sea surveillance have quietly tripled. Some research institutions have been defunded altogether, their data classified, their teams silenced. The public? Still unaware, still safe in the illusion that the ocean is empty and the unknown is harmless. But within certain circles, marine biologists, physicists, intelligence analysts, there's a growing consensus we may have made first contact. Not with aliens from the stars, but with something born right here. And it's watching. The practical impact? Already visible. Subsea cables that carry internet across continents are failing more frequently, with no clear cause. Whale migration patterns have shifted unpredictably. Entire species of fish have disappeared from sonar scans overnight. Something is changing the ocean's behavior, and by extension, the planet's. If this is a life form, an intelligence, or a system we don't understand, then every action we take down there could be a provocation. A war we don't even know we've started. And if it's not intelligent, if it's a force of nature, that's even worse. Because we can't reason with it. We can only brace for the consequences. This isn't just about the deep anymore. It's about the surface, about us, and about how far we've gone into a world we were never meant to touch and may never be allowed to leave. So now we face the question we never thought we'd have to ask. Just because we can go deeper, should we? The ocean has always been our final frontier, not because it's far, but because it refuses to be known. It's not a blank canvas, it's a boundary. And like every boundary we've ever pushed, the atom, artificial intelligence, the genome, there comes a moment when progress becomes a mirror. A moment where we no longer discover the world, we confront ourselves. Have we mistaken exploration for control? In our pursuit to dominate every corner of the earth, have we awakened something that was never meant to be disturbed? Not because it's evil, but because it's beyond us? We once feared sea monsters because we didn't understand them. But now, we fear the silence, the absence, the feeling that something is waiting in the dark, watching what we choose next. Some scientists argue we must continue, that only through understanding can we protect ourselves. Others say the cost is too great, that there are places meant to remain untouched. Either way, a decision must be made. Humanity stands at a precipice. Evolve with caution or charge forward blindly. Because if there truly is something down there, something ancient, sentient, and patient, then every scan, every drill, every sonar ping may be the sound of us knocking on a door that was sealed for a reason. And once it opens, there may be no way back. If you've made it this far, then maybe you feel it too. That low hum of unease in your chest. That quiet question that won't go away. I didn't set out to scare you. Honestly, when I began researching this, I thought it would just be legends, ghost stories, sailor myths. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. I stopped laughing. I stopped sleeping. And I started wondering if the reason these stories never truly die is because they're not done. I keep coming back to the faces of those lost crews, the torn-out pages from logs, the sudden shutdowns of entire research programs. And I ask myself, What did they see? What did they understand that they weren't allowed to share? We think we're at the top of the food chain, that the unknown is something to be explored, conquered, monetized. But maybe it's looking right back at us. Maybe we were never meant to find it. Or maybe we were, just not ready. And now, I want to ask you something personally. If a door appeared in the middle of the sea, a real one, and it opened just a crack, enough to glimpse what waits inside, would you step through? Would you dare? Or would you turn back, knowing that once you look, you can never unsee it? I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you believe is hiding out there? What's the one mystery you wish you could solve if it meant risking everything? Because somewhere, just maybe, something is waiting for an answer.